Hey guys, StandardVR with your daily Pokemon battles. We are doing something completely new. We are doing our first draft league with the CMM and the Mudkip division. This is an Ubers Wi-Fi draft league, and it's going to be fun. So we got some really fun mons. I ended up being, I believe, ninth pick in a 16-person draft. So, like a really kind of weird spot to try and draft from because a lot of picks go back and forth between mine. So, I think we got some cool mons. We got some cool tech that we can work with. And I really like the way that this turned out. So, for our first pick for the Kansas City Kyurem, we have the big Dragapult. Now, I know you're thinking, this is an Ubers league. You should draft an Uber. You're probably correct. However, again, ninth pick, a lot of the really broken Ubers were obviously picked up. But Dragapult here outspeeds like the majority of them. Things like Kali Shadow are banned. Yveltal obviously is not in there because we can't battle with it with Wi-Fi. So I think Dragapult can really stand with the Ubers, considering that this is a draft league and not Ubers, so it's not trying to fight every Uber on its own. I think I really like its speed tiering, and a lot of the different sets that it can run makes it really hard to prep for. So that's why my first pick was Dragapult. Number 2, we have the big base form Kyurem. Now this is a very weird pick, I believe, but I really like double dragon cores. I really like Kyurem, obviously. I've been having a lot of fun using Kyurem in VGC, using Kyurem White specifically in Regulation I, but I really like what base form Kyurem can bring to the table. I could have picked up either of the big Kyurem Whites, Kyurem Blacks, but I really like the fact that this thing has that big 130 special attack and 130 attack, so that like you don't really know which way I'm going to build this. It's got a lot of cool sets, a lot of utility, and just hits really hard. I don't think people are going to be quite ready for it. Next up, number 3, we have the big Glamora. I really wanted a hazard setter / spinner, and this kind of all encompasses this. Now, I know you got that big 4 times weak to ground, but we have a Kyurem. So if you bring ground types, you just get freeze dried. Just how it goes. But this thing is great for getting rid of toxic spikes, setting stealth rocks, doing some damage, getting some mortal spins off, keeping the rocks away. I really like Glamora. It's also a nice fairy resist for my double dragon core. I think it's going to work out well. So moving on to number 4, we have the Clefable. Now, I know you're thinking, Clefable's not that great. You might be right. But I really like this thing as a defensive pivot. I like the fact that it can do some wish support. It can, slow some things down. It can slow the game down a lot. This works really well until a lot of the big Uber dragons. Clefable can kind of just sit on the board and go, no. I like Clefable as a defensive pivot. I like it very much in like OU utility type cores. So that was my first really kind of super defensive pick, was this Clefable, and I think it's going to put in a lot of work this season, just kind of mitigating some damage and, really disrupting my opponent's team. Next up, number 5, we have the Moltres, the big Cantonian Moltres. This was another pick that I picked to kind of mitigate that fairy weakness with my double dragons. I also really wanted something with like Flame Body that I can get like that passive dot or damage over time, and to really like neuter those big physical attackers. Like you got Zacian, you got Zamazenta. You know what they don't want to deal with? They don't want to deal with a Moltres. Even Urshifu, not Urshiwater. I'm not talking about Urshiwater. We're talking about Urshifu Dark. You like throw a Wicked Blow or a close combat. You throw a Behemoth Blade. You throw a Body Press into one of my mons. I switch it into Moltres. You get burned. This was my plan all along. You know what I'm saying? We got to slow down these Ubers because, again, middle of the pack, not a great place to start. But we make do with what we have. So our 6th pick, the big Quackaball. I wanted another spinner for this team, and this thing can also be a super bulky offensive threat. This thing gets going with like Aqua Steps and Moxies, and it's just going to start like smoking some mons. This mon is all around just a great utility mon. It can be built defensively, offensively. It can support. It can be a main attacker. It's just really all around a great pick. Then, number 7, we got the big Volcarona. Now, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know this. Volcarona is an Uber. It's in the Uber tier. Now, I think Volcarona was only like 14, 15 points, something like that. It was absolutely ridiculously cheap, especially for being an Uber. It is Teraband, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. Volcarona still is super good, even in singles where sometimes you have to run boots because they have rocks. But again, we have 2 spinners. We can get rid of them. We can get rid of the rocks. We can also just run boots. Volcarona is another thing that has a bunch of different sets that it can run, a bunch of different coverage that it can carry. I think this is going to be kind of like a really subtle sweeper mon in a lot of these matchups that's going to come in and kind of just pop something. Number 8, we have the big Hoopa Unbound, which I think was only 13 points, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you have not looked at Hoopa Unbound stats, this thing has like a 160 or 170 like attack and special attack. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the coverage that this thing gets with Psychic Dark, obviously, you don't want to get you turned on. It's going to smoke it. But this thing is super specially defensive. Not the greatest defenses, but we can make up for that. This is one of my Terra captains, the other one being Glamora. I thought that they just work really well together, being able to kind of either deal damage or mitigate damage, because this thing's stats is absolutely broken. Next up, number 9, we got the Deoxys defense. This is our next really good defensive utility mon in Clefable. I really kind of wanted Mew, but this thing kind of does the same thing Mew does, except for it's so much like bulkier. Like this thing takes so much damage so well. And get that slow teleport out, I think it's going to be super nice in being able to pivot into some of my sweepers and actually keep the momentum up. It's something that I really wanted with this team, is like a lot of mods that can kind of pivot around. We can U-turn Dragapult, we can U-turn Moltres, we can teleport with Deoxys. Just a lot of ways to kind of move the board around and get in positions where we can actually capitalize on these big Ubers, on these big restricted mons. Number 10, we have Mimikyu. This thing is so good defensively, like not even defensively and offensively. Like it's the ability to kind of come in and you have to hit it twice. Like it's basically a sturdy mon. It's basically a free focus sash. So you get behind, you like fodder them on, you sack them on, and you come in with that Mimikyu and you can like find a way to flip the script. Because you can get a KO, you can revenge KO, or you can like disrupt and then revenge KO with something in the back. You know what I'm saying? It's just a very nice way to kind of reposition, reset the board so you can get in a more advantageous position. And then my last pick, number 11. This thing was 10 points and it's absolutely ridiculous. We have the big Doug Trio. Arena Trap is just the most busted ability. If you don't know what it does, it makes it to where your opponent's Pokemon, unless they're flying or I think levitate, they can't switch. So like a lot of these steel Ubers, you know, they can't Terra because we do have Terra restrictions. Then they can't switch. All of a sudden Doug Trio comes in and just earthquakes. It's a great way to kind of trap mons in, get rid of them, get that little bit of chip that you need, and kind of reposition. So, I think this is a super cool squad. I think we have the defensive pivots, we have the defensive typings, we got big flame body on Moltres and Volcarona, which is really nice, and slowing down those physical attackers. We have that Deoxys defense to really kind of slow things down, maybe set some hazards, do some disruption, teleport out into a big sweeper, and go from there. Like I said, I really kind of, being that 9th pick in a 16-person draft, I didn't want to go for like a big ticket item. I really wanted that middle ground. All of these are just really good OU mons that can really punish Uber mons that don't have the full support of an entire Uber team like you usually see in the Smogon Uber tier. So we're going to see if we can make this work. We do have an Uber. People are saying I don't have an Uber. I have Volcarona. Listen, I have Volcarona. It's an Uber for a reason. It's kind of busted. But, so that is your team for your Kansas City Kirim. We got Terra Captain's Glamora, Terra Captain, Hoopa Unbound. We got defensive stuff. We got massive damage. We got massive speed with that Dragapult, with that Kirim. Get some Aqua Steps on Quackball. It's going to go far. Like I said, be on the lookout for the uploads. I'm not sure what day I'm going to be uploading the battles. I don't think we have a necessarily upload schedule, but I will be sure to keep you updated on how the matches go and when those are going to drop. If you've made it this far in the video, if you're excited about Draft League, if you're excited about the singles and VGC content that I have coming down the line, drop a sub, drop a comment, drop a like. Let me know how your day's going. And as always, have a great one. Peace.